Good morning, everyone. As things fall on the branches nearby, we are stopping off at a little river preserve today. First off, see if there's anything poking around within the brush over here before heading out further west later. Fingers crossed today we get king snakes, speckled rattlesnakes, maybe a rosy boa if we're lucky tonight, and Colorado desert sidewinders later tonight. And no surprise, we got what looks like a desert spiny lizard, either that or Clark's, hanging out over here. There's been a couple that have jumped up on the trees already. And hanging out by the lake here we have the ever ubiquitous invasive species, the red-eared slider. See, the only native turtles out here really are the mud turtles. So this guy is something that should not actually be in this pond, but people release them anywhere and everywhere, unfortunately. And we got ourselves a zebra-tailed lizard going through an explosive shed. You can kind of see the stripes there. They're more obviously black and white zebra striped on the underneath though. These guys are kind of everywhere through, well, the next 3-4 days of where I'm gonna be. They're pretty common. And more red-eared sliders. This one is old and is turning melanistic, meaning he's all black. See how dark it is compared to his neighbor. Now, much to my surprise, it's not exactly what I would call river level, but the Hassayampa River here actually has water flowing through it. As I listen to some sort of woodpecker screaming up above my head. Those stupid flies won't get in my face. It's pretty warm out here, but it's not completely roast your butt off warm, so I'm hoping there's still something cruising around in the grasses here. Still in the water here, I don't know what kind they are, but we've got some sort of little native minnow swimming around.
As usual, there's some interesting mudflowers along the walk path, as well as this time, thanks to the recent rains, some rather interesting fungi that were growing on the trees, but reptiles remain scarce.
Well, and right about where I expected to see it, first evidence of snakes. Looks like it might actually be a king snake shed, but it's right alongside this rocky amalgamate crag here, underneath what I think is the train tracks just on the other side of that fence there. But hoping there'll be something sitting on this crag out in ambush, because this is about the right place for rattlesnakes too. Alright, and we've come to the top of a lookout hill here. Still no snakes to be found, unfortunately. You get a good view of the lush river valley below. And then the immediate transition once you hit these hills here to dry desert scrub with saguaro cactus. 3 different species of cholla. And all the mountains where there should be all sorts of speckled rattlesnakes and rosy boas about, but haven't been able to turn them yet. Hopefully that changes tonight. Well, it's definitely baby season because we got this little new hatchling zebra tail sitting on the rock here. He's maybe 2 inches long in total. Tiny little thing. I really wish that the baby lizards would bring out the things that like to eat lizards though.
As I left, a short period was spent visiting the bird feeder right near the entrance. Mostly familiar faces that we had seen already within the preserve, but a couple interesting newbies as well, before eventually heading out to try our hand at night cruising for the evening throughout the western transitional desert where the Sonoran meets the Mojave. Well, relocating to the next spot since the preserve proved snakeless, and looks like there's a chance I might be driving through the aftermath of a late monsoon storm or two, which, if it hits here early, could be good for the night cruising. If it hits late at night, might kill the activity up here and I'll have to head south a lot faster. So I'm hoping for some early rain, cools down just a little bit, and stuff gets active at night. Fingers crossed. Alright, at the new location, my plans have kind of been screwed a little bit because the road I was gonna drive turns out it's blocked off, so no access to the river I was trying to get to, but got a little side blotch lizard hanging out in the brush there. Pretty colorful one too. We're gonna see if there's any other little trails that we can poke around over here. Basically, we're trying to kill time for the next 2.5 hours until it gets dark and I can start cruising out of here, because this area is great looking habitat and we are within both speck and rosy boa range. So I'm hoping they'll be out and about once the sun goes down. Oh, well, I'm sitting here waiting for the sun to go down. We've spotted one of the most controversial creatures in the West. A lot of people will hate to hear me say it, but there is no such thing as wild burros or wild horses in North America. So what you see here are the feral descendants of either escaped or released animals that have been allowed to establish, and they disrupt the vegetation out here as well as push out native ungulates that actually evolved with the changing climate here in the US. The desert bighorn sheep, the Sonoran pronghorns and such. And so they actually put those guys at risk. And yeah, people hate to hear me say it, but same goes for feral horses in the US. Because they also compete with animals that actually evolved with the habitat over the past 7,000 to 12,000 years. So a lot of people go out and look for these guys. But it would be better for the environment if they were never here. And now we've got a close-up look at the burrows.
At least the one waited for me to go by before crossing the road, but then we got this guy who's just kind of holding up the traffic. Alright, well, it's not the thing I was first expecting to see out here, but the furthest west example I've seen so far of your Sonoran Desert toad. He's not the biggest of them either. He's only about the size of my palm. They get quite a bit larger, but still cool to see these guys anyway. Now, if he's out, I'm hoping that means there's just enough moisture in the ground to get other things moving around. But we're going to make sure he gets completely off the road now. He was going the other way, so we're going to turn him around. Come on, sir. And no, other way. Okay, fine, we're going to pick you up. Gotcha. Little chunk. Put you down over here. There we go. Over here. What is he? It's a Claris phase longnose. Hi, handsome. We're going to pick you up. Look at you. Oh, not quite Claris, but really darn close. He's got just a little bit of red. Alright, so still not quite the black and white snake I was hoping to see, but hopefully that changes soon enough. But glad to see that there are snakes out and about tonight anyway. This guy's not quite Claris phase. You can see he's got just a little bit of red speckling in between his black bands, but he's really darn close to it. So close enough that I'd just about be happy to call him such. Look at that gorgeous snake, though. They're common, but they're never not beautiful animals. Look at that. Yep, if nothing else shows up, these guys are usually reliable to kind of help break the monotony of a otherwise quiet night. So we're going to get a couple more photos of him and then put him off the side of the road again where he was heading. Alright, so I don't have very long to do this because unfortunately the drive down here took almost an hour longer than I was actually expecting it to. But we're going to take a brief walk in some of the hills near Yuma here. It is currently 12:33, 85 degrees, and it is actually sprinkling rain in the driest part of the U.S. This area only gets about 2 to 3 inches on average every year, so I'm kind of hoping that this moisture will mean the rattlesnakes are posted out trying to get a drink along the waterway here. Or the wash, I should say, and I can spot them. We'll see. Oh, accidentally disturbed a dragonfly. Let's see, where's he at? I know that he should be right in the viewfinder here, but I seem to have lost him. Up there he is. Right in the middle of the screen there. Alright, still not snake, but I did spot a snake food. And he just went down into a hole. Finally found a rock face that actually has a few cracks and crevices in and around it, but I'm still not seeing anybody using them. Enough moisture to trigger the growth of some really funky fungi, though. The ground is wet here, so it definitely rained pretty decently recently, but I don't know. Alright, so the late night hike did not turn out what I was hoping, unfortunately. However, it seems, despite the fact that I am in the driest place in the country right now, pretty much, I've arrived when it has just been soaking wet right around here, and it's going to potentially be rainy throughout tomorrow during the day as well. So that might bring out stuff in the low desert or in the foothills nearby. And maybe if it clears up like it's supposed to before evening actually hits, could actually provide a chance to see things cruising around down in the low desert tomorrow evening as well, on roads that hopefully will not get washed out by the rain. But we'll catch up with this tomorrow morning. And good afternoon, everyone. Picking up again. It is currently 92 degrees Fahrenheit. It is actually just afternoon, and it's actually been raining again. Sprinkling rain all around through here. So we're gonna head up a little canyon trail over here, see if there's anything out and about in this slightly cooler than usual weather. Before a little bit later, we might be taking a wash hike out in the flats before, with any luck, hoping that that big storm is not actually smacking the Tinajas Altas mountains, because if it does that, won't be able to drive down there, but we'll see what happens. There's more evidence that it's been wet over here recently. All the ocotillos on this side of the state are in full green out, and this one is in bloom. See those pretty red flowers there? I've actually managed to succeed in getting an ocotillo to sprout at home, so I'm hoping in a few years I might see this at home. Alright, and not 3 minutes in, we got a chuckwalla hanging out. And of course these guys are masters of clambering up these cliffs, so I'm not going to be able to get any closer to him than this. Unless he dives into a crack, then maybe we can pull him out, but otherwise, that's probably the best look we're going to have of him. But these guys are one of the largest lizards in the US. Supposedly the Gila monster is the largest, but I don't know, these guys give those a pretty good run for their money. Part of the iguana family. Of course, out on the flats you also get the desert iguana. But these guys are famously rock dwellers and primarily vegetarian. And they can be found throughout the Baja Peninsula, Sonora, Mexico, all the way north into southern Utah. I don't know if you can see him in there too well, but he did dive into a rock crevice here. It's a pretty, like, blue and red guy, and the yellow tail there. You can kind of see him peeking out at us. And that's what they do. They hide near crevices. And then when a predator comes in after them, they go into that crevice and puff up full of air so that nothing can pull them out. And there's number 3. Second one dashed across the path and disappeared under a rock. This guy's just chilling out. As soon as I get close though, he's going to dive underneath that ledge right there though. Nice that he's out in a spot where we can see him pretty good here. Look at that color. They are a little bit variable in appearance based on whatever rocks they're around. Since around here it's a little bit volcanic, they're a little darker in color. Chunky guys though. And we got ourselves a Great Basin whiptail here. It's interesting that way down here there's still Great Basins, because basically they follow the Colorado River all the way down its valley. Beautiful speckly thing though. Among reasons why some of the subspecies of this species are called tiger whiptails. And there he goes. Yeah, coming up, reaching the top of the pass almost here, where we can see down across the mountains, and yeah, it's looking like attempts at the white specks probably won't happen tonight if that storm is doing what I think it is over there, because it's about to hit those mountains directly and pass through the plain above, which the road I'd have to take is questionable enough as it is. If it gets any sort of rain, that might completely ruin my ability to get down there. And we got what looks like a side-blotched lizard here. Could also be one of the Urosaurus. It's kind of hard to tell at this angle, but cool either way. Alright, he's moved and I've got a little better view. It looks like it is actually. Might be the long-tailed brush lizard. And here it looks like we actually have a female side blotch. Pretty little lizard. Lizards seem to be the only thing out though, still. So out here on the desert flats, there's something that you have to be really careful of as you're walking around. Because when you're out in the really sandy places, this isn't so much an issue because the soil is always shifting so much that nothing can really grab a foothold other than plants. But in the washes here, just off the foothills, you get areas along the edges of the main water channels where soil is stable enough, but also moist enough that it forms the cryptobiotic crust. This is basically living earth. Mats of bacteria and algae that have developed and grown across the soil. And they help enrich the soil, and they also help keep it stable. But if you step on it, or at least if too many people step on it in short order, it dies off and the soil erodes away. So while you're walking out here, it's important to try and stick to the rocks so you don't destroy the crust. Well, we got Scalopris out here of some kind. For a brief minute I thought it was a baby desert iguana, but nope, just a spiny lizard of some sort. Alright, so we are out here at the head of the El Camino del Diablo, east side. And, well, confirmed two things. One, it absolutely poured rain over here about 2 hours ago. So even getting to this point on the county roads was questionable, and may have some fun getting back out. But two, even if it hadn't just rained, there's no way my car would make it down the road. So unfortunately, we will not be looking for the white speckled rattlesnakes tonight. And I'll have to head back perhaps to one of the paths I was on earlier once it gets dark. Which it may or may not rain over there as well. We'll see. But for now, wandering out here in the hopes that maybe I'll catch an early out Colorado desert sidewinder, or maybe a desert iguana, because the moisture should definitely bring things out.
Unfortunately, continuing a trend this year, the moisture did not bring anything out. Made some interesting patterns in the sand showing the erosion minerals coming off from the different kinds of mountains, but not a whole lot else. A few wildflowers, but it was mostly waiting until nightfall to head back out on the trails.
Alright, well, it's been about 2 hours again that I've been hiking so far. Got another hour or two before I go back to the car, but we've got ourselves a male desert banded gecko here. a much more heavily patterned one than the one that we saw in the last video. Pretty tail that might be regrown actually, but just poking around on the side of the hill up here. So we'll just put him back right where he was. Glad that something's out. I'm hoping this means that I might just be hitting the right window now. Alright, much to my surprise, something else that is running around at night that should be asleep. We got a young male side blotch lizard here. Look at the blues on his back there. Not quite as brilliant still as the one that I found in New Mexico a couple of years ago, but still a gorgeous little lizard. And of course the blotch on the side that they get their name from. Beautiful. Alright, the lizards are out, we're the snakes. And we got ourselves another really weird little critter out here. Big ol' wind scorpion, solifugid. He's a going somewhere. Don't know where, but there he goes. Well, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but we do finally have another snake out here, and it's a little baby western diamondback. I might need to grab the tweezers, but we'll see. He's a very little guy, newly born. I'm cruising a very wet road because it rained straight through here earlier, it looks like. Hoping we might find some of the other rattlesnake species out here, but glad we got somebody. And it's the first Aatrox of the trip, surprisingly. But it is that time of year. Alright, it's tweezer time. Come here, sir. I have no idea where you're living out here, because there is nothing going on, but I guess you do you. Scoot, scoot. Go back that way. And a small bit of evidence of the rain that went through. We've got the ubiquitous Couch's spadefoot toad out here. He's under an overpass right here too. Not the greatest spot for him, but we're gonna help him across the road real quick. Handsome little guy you are. We've got another banded gecko out here. Hello. Who is in a much more spotty patterning. Here we go. You got him briefly. Hi. You're so cute. Where are you going? You were heading this way, so we're going to move you across the road here, okay? Hold on. I don't know why you want to go this way, but you can go that way. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Alright, so I've taken a few photos of these guys already, but I'm going to do a little video of it as well. We got what I think is Ibisella lutea out here. It's a member of the Devil's Claw family. Some people think they may actually be proto-carnivorous because they have very sticky leaves, but even more so, you might call them a murderous plant because in some cases their seed pods will actually kill small animals because, well, that's what the seed pods look like. They form those wicked claws on the ends when they break open. When they're really young, you can actually fry and eat them like okra, but when they're old, they are hard, woody, and very, very sharp. Alright, that wraps up the second day within the Colorado desert here. And yeah, unfortunately, it hasn't gone quite as hoped for, but at least we found a couple cool lizards and did find at least one snake a day, so we're not completely striking out on that. If you are seeing this, I am wrapping this up here because then that means tomorrow in the Organ Pipe region, things will have gone a little better. So stay tuned for that. We are missing out down here, unfortunately, on speckled rattlesnakes. Teensy chance one could show up where I'm going next, but they're rare there, so probably gonna have to return for that. Also the Colorado Desert shovelnose and the Colorado Sidewinder, kind of getting missed out here, but there's a lot of other cool things that are a possibility from here on out on the trip. We've still got several days coming up, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully things go well. But until then, if you enjoy educational videos like this, and if you enjoyed this video especially, make sure to leave a like, leave comments down below, or questions if you have them. Share with somebody else who might enjoy watching the travels that I do here. And always stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything coming up. And you can find more information about the stuff that I work with on my website at carltoncarnivores.com. The database and blog are there. And I'm always posting photos and video tidbits on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. at Carlton Carnivores. And of course, these trips are expensive, and the time to edit the videos also takes up quite a bit of otherwise money-making time. So if you'd like to help support in a financial manner, consider buying some of the plants or merchandise and such that are available at the website shop, or become a Patreon member where you get early access to the videos, exclusive merchandise, access to the monthly seed contest if you're into the sort of planty stuff that I work with. Or you can simply donate at Ko-fi or contact me for other ways. Most of the links for these things will be in the video description below, though. But until next time, I'm Håkon Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.